These are the celebrities who let their mean behavior cost them everything. Kanye West went from musical genius to walking drama faster than you can say, graduation. Kanye West, once had the world at his feet. He wasn't just a rapper. He was a cultural force, setting trends and redefining music. But somewhere along the way, his mic drops turned into PR disasters. Fans stuck by him through outbursts, wild interviews, and even that Taylor Swift moment. But his recent behavior? Yeah, even the most loyal fans started hitting the unfollow button. From debated political stances to jaw-dropping comments about history, Kanye seemed determined to push every boundary, just not in a good way. His anti-Semitic remarks, career-ending, Adidas, Balenciaga, and Gap all dropped him like a bad beat. Even fans who once defended his creative genius found themselves deleting playlists and selling merch. The man who once claimed to be a god in the music industry is now struggling to keep his empire from crumbling. At this rate, Kanye might be the only one left attending his next listening party. From America's sweetheart to Hollywood's coldest, Ellen's fall was anything but kind. For years, Ellen was daytime TV royalty, dancing her way into millions of hearts with feel-good moments and celebrity pranks. But behind the scenes, not so cheerful. In 2020, her empire took a nosedive when former staff members exposed the alleged toxic culture of the Ellen DeGeneres show. Claims of workplace bullying, intimidation, and a not-so-kind environment. Stories poured in about employees being not treated well, facing unfair consequences, and even being told not to make eye contact with her. Yikes. And when big names like Dakota Johnson subtly hinted at Ellen's less-than-sunny side, the internet had a field day. Despite a public apology and some serious damage control, the scandal stuck like gum on a shoe. Viewers tuned out, sponsors backed away, and her once beloved show wrapped up for good in 2022 after 19 seasons. Turns out, a smile and a dance can only cover so much. Lea went from Broadway darling to Hollywood's biggest diva, and not in a good way. Lea Michele became a household name playing Rachel Berry on Glee, a character who was talented, ambitious, and, well, a bit of a nightmare. Turns out, life imitated art. In 2020, Samantha Ware, a Glee co-star, called Lea out for making her time on set a living hell. And that was just the beginning. Other cast members backed up the claims, sharing stories of silent treatment, snide remarks, and downright mean girl behavior. Some even said Lea treated extras like they didn't exist, literally refusing to acknowledge them. Yikes. The backlash was swift. She lost brand deals, and the internet took turns roasting her. In true damage control mode, Lea issued an apology, saying she had grown and learned. But fans weren't buying it. Even her attempt at a comeback on Broadway's Funny Girl couldn't fully erase the reputation. James Corden played the lovable goof on TV, but off camera, not so charming. For years, James won over audiences with carpool karaoke and his cheeky British humor. But in 2022, his nice guy image crashed when restaurant owner Keith McNally publicly banned him from the famous NYC spot Balthazar, calling him a tiny cretin of a man. Ouch. The reason? James allegedly threw a fit over an omelet. Yes, an omelet, yelling at staff and making a scene over a minor mistake. And once that door opened, the floodgates burst. Former employees, servers, and even TV crew members came forward with their own stories of James being rude, dismissive, and just plain unpleasant. The contrast between his bubbly on-screen persona and his reported real-life behavior left fans feeling duped. James issued an apology after trying to deny it first. But the damage was done. His late-night show eventually wrapped, and his Hollywood reputation, not exactly in high demand. J.K. Rowling wrote about magic, but her squabbles, not so enchanting. For years, J.K. was the ultimate literary queen, creating a world that shaped childhoods and sparked a global fandom. But in 2019, the magic dimmed when her social media posts and essays on gender identity sparked outrage. What started as a few eyebrow-raising tweets quickly turned into a full-blown debate, with many accusing her of being dismissive of marginalized communities. The fallout? Massive. The actors who brought Harry Potter to life, Daniel, Emma, and Rupert, publicly distanced themselves. Fan pages dedicated to the wizarding world outright stated they no longer supported her views. Even bookstores that once proudly stocked Harry Potter began reconsidering their displays. Despite the backlash, J.K. doubled down, releasing lengthy essays defending her stance. The divide became so deep that even Hogwarts Legacy, a game based on her beloved books, launched with fans debating whether supporting the game meant supporting her. Some still adore her work, while others have permanently turned their backs. Amber Heard's biggest role, the most talked about courtroom drama in Hollywood history. For years, Amber was climbing the Hollywood ladder, starring in big-budget films like Aquaman. But in 2022, her career took a nosedive when her defamation trial with Johnny Depp became global entertainment. With cameras capturing every second, the courtroom turned into a reality show, and the internet became judge, jury, and meme factory. Testimony, recordings, and viral TikTok edits painted Amber as unreliable, and public opinion flipped faster than a Hollywood reboot. Memes flooded social media, the hashtag #Justice for Johnny Depp trended worldwide, and even makeup brands jumped in to fact-check her claims. The damage? Massive. A petition to remove her from Aquaman 2 racked up over 4 million signatures, and her screen time in the sequel reportedly got slashed to almost nothing. Even after the trial ended, her Hollywood future looked shakier than a low-budget sequel. While she's since moved to Spain and keeps a lower profile, the internet never forgets. Joe Rogan went from podcast king to internet punching bag, faster than you can say, "Pull that up, Jamie." Joe built a media empire with the Joe Rogan Experience, known for deep dive interviews and wild conversations. But as his audience grew, so did the criticism. Things got messy during the pandemic when he gave airtime to questionable medical takes that made scientists and health experts collectively facepalm. Suddenly, his podcast wasn't just casual chats, it was making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Then came the internet's favorite thing, old clips. A compilation surfaced showing Joe using identity-related slurs over the years, and the backlash hit like a freight train. Even celebs who once backed him, like Dwayne Johnson, quickly pulled a U-turn. Spotify, which had dropped a reported $100 million on him, had to clean up the mess, removing episodes and scrambling for damage control. Despite it all, Joe still has firm supporters, but his reputation, it took a serious dent. Turns out, when you have the biggest microphone in the world, people will listen, and not always in a good way. Some celebrities ruin their careers with scandals. Jenny did it with science denial. Jenny went from 90s it girl to daytime TV personality to, let's just say, a very questionable health expert. Once loved for her humor and charm, she took a sharp left turn when she became the loudest celebrity voice against vaccines. Her claims, based on personal belief rather than science, sent shockwaves through public health discussions. Despite mountains of research debunking the idea, Jenny doubled down, using talk shows, books, and interviews to spread her message. And it worked, for all the wrong reasons. Parents listened, vaccine hesitancy spiked, and doctors collectively facepalmed. Her influence was so strong that even years later, she's still cited as a key reason misinformation spread like wildfire. As the science world clapped back, Jenny's reputation took a nosedive. Instead of being remembered for her comedy or TV gigs, she became that celebrity people bring up when discussing why celebrities shouldn't give medical advice. The irony? If she had just stuck to making people laugh, her career might not have caught the wrong kind of fever. Chevy Chase was comedy royalty until his attitude made him the court jester of bad behavior. Chevy was once the golden boy of comedy, stealing scenes on Saturday Night Live and cracking up audiences in Caddyshack and National Lampoon's Vacation. But behind the laughs, not so funny. Turns out working with Chevy was about as enjoyable as stepping on a Lego barefoot. Stories of his on-set behavior stretch back decades. Fellow comedians called him unbearable. Community creator Dan Harmon openly despised him. And SNL castmates have described him as rude, dismissive, and just plain mean. Even legendary tough guy Bill Murray allegedly threw hands with him back in the day. Fans who grew up loving his slapstick charm started seeing the man behind the mask, and it wasn't pretty. With reports of him belittling co-stars and making questionable remarks, the once beloved funny man found himself on the wrong side of Hollywood. His legacy in comedy is still undeniable, but let's be real, Chevy's reputation aged like expired milk. And at this point, even his old characters might not want to be in the same room as him. Alec Baldwin's temper is so infamous that it deserves its own IMDb page. Alec has had an impressive career: 30 Rock, SNL, and a voice that could narrate a documentary on drying paint and still make it interesting. But when he's not acting, he's Well, not exactly winning Nicest Guy awards. For years, Alec's temper has been legendary. Paparazzi? He's shoved them. Airline attendants? He's gotten kicked off flights for refusing to stop playing Words with Friends. His voicemail to his own daughter? Yikes. And then came the Rust tragedy in 2021, a devastating accident that left many questioning his responsibility. Instead of handling it with quiet reflection, Alec did interviews, denied fault, and seemed more focused on clearing his name than anything else. Fans who once loved his charm started seeing a different side, a man who always seemed to be one argument away from a headline. Hollywood forgives a lot, but when your public persona starts looking more like an action movie villain than a beloved actor, that's a tough sell. Female celebs everyone is tired of hearing about. You already know who's on this list. Blake Lively is like glitter. You think she's gone, but she's everywhere. She's the celebrity equivalent of that one friend who insists on telling the same story at every party, and it's the one where she's the hero. Seriously, how many times can we hear about her life as a perfect mom, a flawless actress, and a queen of Instagram? It's like watching a never-ending highlight reel of someone who just discovered filters. Now, with her latest flick, It Ends With Us, she's been caught in a whirlwind of drama. Between alleged diva antics on set and a lawsuit against her co-star Justin Baldoni, it's hard to keep track of whether she's promoting a movie or auditioning for a reality show. TikTok has turned her into the poster child for celebrities we can't with anymore. And honestly, who can blame them? Her attempts at humor often land flatter than her homemade cocktails, which are apparently now in a can. Thank you, Betty Boos. Blake, darling, we get it. You're tired from raising 4 kids and running a hair care empire, but maybe tone down the I'm so perfect vibes just a smidge, because at this point, even her fans are rolling their eyes. Meghan Markle is still trying to make fetch happen in the royal family and failing. It seems like every time Meghan's name pops up, it's attached to some new drama. Whether it's claims of flirting with Prince William, overshadowing Harry at the Invictus Games, or dealing with unflattering nicknames from palace staff, she's always in the headlines. Now, some experts are suggesting 2025 is a make-or-break year for Harry and Meghan. Her attempts to stay relevant involve everything from PDA-filled appearances with Harry to, allegedly, funneling money from their charity to Democratic-aligned causes. There are even reports that Prince Harry is considering legal action against the President of the US, following his comments about Meghan. Meanwhile, critics accuse her of seeking publicity after visiting Los Angeles victims. Between rumored reality TV shows and constant speculation about her next move, it's hard to keep up. Maybe it's time for Meghan to take a page from the royal playbook and embrace a little bit of quiet. Because right now, she is giving us main character syndrome, and honey, there are other characters in this show. Kim Kardashian is still trying to break the internet, one filtered pic at a time. It seems like Kim is always sparking some sort of drama. Lately, her ex, Kanye West, and his wife Bianca Censori have been making headlines, causing Kim concern for her children, especially North. Kim is reportedly worried about the impact of their antics and Censori's fashion choices on her kids. She's even setting strict guidelines for Kanye's visits with their children after his recent behavior. But it's not just Kanye creating drama. Kim also faced backlash for posting a photo of Melania Trump, with some fans accusing her of being a supporter and calling for a boycott of her products. Even old videos are resurfacing to haunt her. Between managing her daughter's burgeoning career, dealing with Kanye's issues, and sparking her own, it's a lot. Maybe it's time for Kim to take a social media detox and let someone else have a turn in the spotlight, because honestly, at this point, even her shapewear is starting to feel a little bit suffocating. Beyoncé fatigue is real. This year it seems like Queen Bey has been stirring up more drama than a reality TV reunion. Fresh off her debated Best Country Album win at the Grammys, fans are now balking at the prices for her Cowboy Carter tour. I mean, who knew you had to sell a kidney to afford a nosebleed seat? Then there's the perfume launch, strategically timed to drop right when everyone's wallets are weeping from those ticket prices. The Bayhive is not amused, with fans joking that they only have blood left to give Queen. Ouch. And let's not forget the wardrobe malfunction scare at the Grammys, where Jay-Z had to swoop in to save the day from a rogue undergarment. Honestly, between dodging underwires and dealing with angry fans, it's a wonder she has time to breathe. maybe it's time for Beyoncé to take a break and let someone else wear the crown for a minute, because right now, she's giving us too much renaissance, and even the most loyal subjects need a breather. Anne Hathaway drama? Here we go again. She literally went from America's sweetheart to an internet punching bag and back again. Seriously? How many comebacks can one actress have? Remember the Hatha-hate era? Turns out, being too perfect was a crime punishable by internet scorn. But just when we thought she was down for the count, bam! Ocean's 8 happened, and suddenly everyone remembered why they loved her in the first place. Now she's back in the headlines with The Idea of You, stirring up chatter about age gaps. And let's not forget the Verity backlash, with fans begging her to ditch the Colleen Hoover adaptation. Apparently, even a Queen of Genovia can make questionable choices. It seems like Anne is always teetering on the edge of public opinion. One minute she's winning Oscars, the next she's apologizing for cringe-worthy interviews. Can't this girl just catch a break? Because honestly, at this point, her career is more dramatic than the Princess Diaries, and that's saying something. Kendall Jenner is proving that nepotism and a pretty face can get you everywhere. Whether she's rocking the pantsless trend, stirring up drama with exes and their new flames, or being called out for cultural appropriation, Kendall never fails to make headlines. Remember the Pepsi ad fiasco? Apparently, all it takes to solve societal problems is a can of soda and a supermodel. Who knew? Now, word on the street is that Rihanna might be blocking Kendall and the whole Kardashian crew from the 2025 Met Gala. Sources say it's due to some old beef involving Chris Brown and A$AP Rocky. Looks like even high fashion has its cliques. Despite being a top model, Kendall admits to battling negative thinking. Maybe she's just tired of being booed at football games or constantly dodging criticism. Either way, it might be time for Kendall to take a break from the spotlight and let someone else have a turn. Because right now, she's giving us privileged problems, and honestly, we could all use a break from that. Bianca Censori stays in the spotlight. For better or worse, she is the latest star in the What Were They Thinking Hall of Fame. Since stepping into Kanye West's whirlwind life, Bianca has become the poster child for famous by association. Seriously, her relationship with Ye is like a never-ending episode of a reality show we didn't sign up for. Between his infamous social media meltdowns and her daring fashion choices, like that sheer outfit in Japan that had everyone clutching their pearls, she's always in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. Her family is reportedly mortified by her antics, and honestly, who can blame them? With Kanye's latest Grammy stunt and their questionable PDA moments, it feels like they're competing for the title of most talked about couple. Even her dad has spoken out, claiming Kanye is a bad influence. Ouch! But here's the kicker. Despite all the drama and divorce rumors swirling around them, Bianca keeps showing up for more. Maybe she thinks she's auditioning for a new reality series called Keeping Up with the Chaos. At this point, we're all just waiting for the next episode because let's be real, this soap opera isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Angelina Jolie's off-screen drama might just outshine her movies. It seems like Angelina Jolie's name is always synonymous with drama. Her never-ending legal battles with ex-husband Brad Pitt continue to shock the public, with serious misbehavior allegations resurfacing. In 2022, court documents revealed Jolie's claims that Pitt was physically and emotionally damaging to her and their children during a 2016 plane incident. She alleges that Pitt became hostile, grabbing her by the head, shaking her, and yelling at her in front of their 6 kids, which has left lasting distress. Some of their children have since distanced themselves from Pitt. Beyond the allegations, they're locked in a bitter dispute over their French winery, Chateau Miraval. Jolie sold her stake to a Russian oligarch without informing Pitt, leading to lawsuits and counterclaims. She claims Pitt insisted she sign a restrictive non-disclosure agreement. Adding to the mix, Jolie's father, John Voight, has publicly criticized her support for Palestine, suggesting she's been influenced by the narrative. Maybe it's time for Jolie to focus on her upcoming role in the Maria Callas biopic and give us a break from the off-screen theatrics. Because right now, it seems like the only thing bigger than her career is the drama surrounding it.
How rude. These are some celebrities who have exposed the rudest, meanest, crudest celebrities they've ever met. Sharon Osbourne versus Ashton Kutcher. Sharon called Ashton the rudest celebrity she's ever met. She has never been to, one to mask her true feelings, and she got very candid about her worst experiences with a celebrity, which happens to be Ashton Kutcher. While playing a game called Stirring the Pot in an E! News segment, she started to talk about him, although at first she didn't even remember his name. She said, the guy that's married to an actress and he used to do that 70s show. Her daughter, Kelly Osbourne, reminded her that, it was Ashton Kutcher. And Sharon confirmed that, yeah, that's who she meant. She said, yes, oh, rude, 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 rude little boy. She went on to call Kutcher a dastardly little thing, whatever that means. And she didn't actually offer any further details about what he did that made her find him so rude, but that's exactly why the internet exists. So back in 2018, Sharon sat down with the late Larry King, who asked her whether she'd ever done an interview on The Talk that didn't go the way she expected. For reference, she was a co-host on the CBS talk show The Talk from 2010 to 2021. She said to Larry, we've had a couple of meanies. For me, everybody's take is different. Somebody can come in and I can go, that was amazing, and the other girls will go, do you think? But I didn't get on with one guy. That was Ashton Kutcher. King called Kutcher a tech guy, seemingly in reference to his early investments in companies like Uber and Airbnb, but Sharon clarified that he's an actor. She continued to say, I didn't get on with him at all. As King informed her that Kutcher was once the highest paid actor on television, Sharon rolled her eyes and said, Lordy Lord. When asked what she didn't like about the actor, she claimed that he has a bad attitude, which she acknowledged may have been because she mispronounced his name during his appearance on The Talk. She recalled it and said, so he was mad and he comes on with an attitude and he goes, and what are you? What have you done in the industry? And I was like, kid, don't start with me because I'm gonna eat you up and crap you out. I was just like, you don't know what you're dealing with, kid. Kutcher has never once commented on the alleged beef between him and Sharon and likely never will. A lot of fans, after the incident didn't actually take Sharon seriously because apparently she's known for being awful herself. One person on social media said, I believe most of the things said about Ashton, but this coming from her is hilarious. And another person shared a story saying she hired the company I worked for one time and she was absolutely horrible to deal with. We still laugh about it. Well, based off these reports, I guess kettle meet pot. JoJo Siwa versus Candace Cameron Bure. Well, whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, the evening TV? Well, no one would have predicted this beef. Certainly not me. But yes, JoJo Siwa, known for being on Dance Moms as a kid and known for being just, JoJo Siwa as an adult, called out Candace Cameron, known for playing DJ Tanner on the 90s hit show Full House and for playing in like every Hallmark Channel Christmas movie for the past 7 years, was yes, called out by JoJo. JoJo said that Candace was the rudest celebrity she's ever met after Candace denied her an autograph when JoJo was just 11 years old. JoJo also shared people who she would never invite on her podcast and basically anybody named Candace. On an episode of her iHeartRadio podcast, JoJo Siwa Now, she revealed celebrities that she's not messing with. And at first she said Candace Owens. She explained how Candace Owens questioned her individuality when she first came out and continued to speak negatively about her and how she refused any further communication with her. The following person she revealed she would never invite was Candace Cameron Bure. 2 years after their very public beef, their viral feud began actually in July of 2022 as part of a TikTok challenge in what JoJo described as an accident. JoJo recalled the moment she was 11 and asked Bure for a photo, but was denied because it just wasn't a good time for her. However, Candace still took photos with other people instead. JoJo said it really was an accident and that she didn't mean for the whole thing to go viral. She said, to me, it was personally the rudest celebrity I'd ever met. She wasn't nice to me when I met her. That doesn't mean she's an awful person. That just means that she was the rudest person that I've ever met. Whatever, I flashed the photo quick and thought no one was going to ever see it. JoJo admitted that she felt guilty about the viral beef since they had mutual friends, but that quickly went away. She did continue to say, but then I found out some things about Candace that I was like, wait, this is actually pretty valid. And I found out some shady things that she has done and some, shady organizations that she has worked with. It goes back to wanting to stand up for my people, but not wanting to create drama that doesn't necessarily need to be there. Candace initially apologized for the rude interaction, but JoJo took issue with her comments about joining the Great American Family Network in November of 2022, in which Candace said she would keep traditional marriage at the core in response to a question about the inclusion of same-sex marriages on the channel. Ultimately, JoJo has now said that there's no real shade anymore between the stars, but she still wouldn't have her on her podcast. To be honest, I really don't think Candace cares. Ronda Rousey versus Justin Bieber. Ronda Rousey is a UFC champion, and so the last thing anyone wants to do is get on her bad side, but leave it to Justin Bieber to do just that. The MMA champ told Cosmopolitan magazine that the pop star pissed her off at the Cannes Film Festival when he was rude to her little sister. So Rousey explained how her sibling was pretty unfazed by anyone at the festival with the exception of Bieber. Unfortunately, when Rousey went up to the singer to ask for a photo for her little sis, the Biebs completely blew her off. She said, Justin Bieber was actually really rude to my little sister at the Cannes Film Festival. My little sister is very hard to impress, and so she really didn't care about anyone who was there, but I wanted to spend some time with her. She continued to say Justin Bieber was over there taking some pictures with some ladies, and she suddenly got really excited and she was like, do you think you would want to take a picture with me? And I was like, don't worry about it. Look at him. He's such a sweetheart. However, when Rousey walked over and asked for a photo, he gave her the cold shoulder. She continued to say he was like, I've already taken 1 billion pictures today, okay? 1 billion. Rousey then recalled that he walked off and just totally snubbed her little sister. And she looks at me and she's like on the verge of tears and she goes, I'm no longer a believer. At that moment, Rousey admits that she too stopped believing. Justin actually once addressed Ronda's remarks in an interview with Entertainment Tonight. During the conversation, Bieber claimed he actually had no recollection of those events. He said, I guess supposedly she asked for a picture with her sister or something, and I guess I said no. He continued to say, I don't remember this happening, so Ronda, I'm sorry, don't kick my butt. Spencer Pratt versus Lisa Kudrow. Spencer Pratt and Lisa Kudrow have been involved in a celebrity feud, with Pratt calling Kudrow like the rudest celebrity he's ever met. Pratt made the comment in a TikTok video, and Bethany Frankel, a reality star, agreed with him. In 2009, Pratt and his wife Heidi Montag, both of whom you may know from the show The Hills, that was a mid-2000s reality type show that showcased a bunch of rich kids living in California, wearing Hollister and smelling like an Abercrombie & Fitch store, were invited to an elite celebrity party. Kudrow, who you know famously for her role as Phoebe in the show Friends, approached Pratt and Montag. Now, Lisa told Heidi to get away from Pratt as soon as possible because she thought he was going to unalive her because he had the eyes of a maniac. Montag waited to see if Kudrow was joking, but Kudrow didn't laugh and just walked away, which honestly is really funny to me because I'm imagining that whole scenario in my head and it's just chef's kiss, And to clarify, diva is not funny or a laughing matter, but just the randomness of this all is hilarious. Pratt said that this was the rudest moment he's ever experienced in his life, which says a lot, while also not saying that much, to be honest. However, one celebrity, Bethany Frankel, had Pratt's back, saying, that's crazy, yeah, she was on my talk show and I had a crazy experience with her also. But Diane Keane, for whatever reason, felt the need to chime in on this and actually defended Lisa Kudrow, saying nothing but positive things about her. My assumption is that Lisa was joking, but when they didn't catch on to the joke, she just decided to walk away, which is again hilarious in its own right. Many people online have said that Lisa is known to actually be a bit of an a-hole sometimes, but agreed that Spencer indeed does have crazy eyes. So therefore, if her concern, was legit, it's warranted.
At number 10, Rick Ross. On the Late Late Show with James Corden, he has a game called Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts, in which his guests have to either answer a question that could potentially get them in a bit of trouble or eat a bit of something nasty. 3 years ago, Corden was playing the game with actress Demi Moore. She asked him to name one celebrity who's disappointed him. Of course, as a talk show host, he didn't want to hurt any feelings, but since he was looking down at a mayo, cheese curd, and soy sauce smoothie, he decided to answer. The host explained his answer by telling Moore and the viewers that in the early days of the show, Corden had come up with a musical spoof about binge watching Netflix to the tune of Ross's hit song Hustlin'. The men were supposed to be performing the song, but I guess before they could, he had a change of heart. Corden said, we sent the stuff to Rick's people and Rick had seen it, loved it, and was so excited to do it. But then Corden and a crew member did the routine for Rick in the empty studio for the rapper to watch. Following that, Ross said, "Cool, I'm just gonna go to the restroom." Corden said about 20 minutes later we just stood there and he hadn't come back. Turns out Ross decided to leave and his manager came back to say, yeah, Rick's not gonna do that. At number 9, Pierce Brosnan. I guess James Corden's Fill Your Guts or Spill Your Guts game is effective because Rick Ross wasn't the only star he called out on his show. During the segment this time, however, guest Khloé Kardashian asked the host, name a celebrity who's been rude to you at a party. Initially, Corden was hesitant to answer the question, but you could tell a name came to his mind right away. Of course, being on the audience's side, Kardashian encouraged the host to spill. Finally, he caved and named actor Pierce Brosnan. The story goes that apparently at a U2 concert, Brosnan bumped into the host and his wife, but never apologized. Corden went on to explain, saying, I've literally never felt anything like it. His arm went onto mine and just pushed me out of the way. Corden then added that he looked back at Brosnan and he didn't even glance at him, just moved back into his area just like that. Kardashian then suggested that he might have been drunk, to which Corden responded with, maybe he's just a bit rude. Mistake or not, next time Brosnan bumps into someone, he'll make sure it's not a late night host. That being said, Corden is one to talk, considering not too long ago he was banned from a restaurant for his rude behavior. At number 8, Cardi B. It's no secret that the rapper from New York is not afraid to fight. If you get on Cardi's bad side, there's no telling what she might say or do to you. One person who found out fast was her Love and Hip Hop New York castmate, Aisha Davies. Cardi joined the cast of the reality show, which follows the lives and relationships of hip-hop artists in its 6th season. During a reunion episode, Cardi ended up being exposed for her rude behavior, with Aisha Davies being her target. Basically, there was a lot of drama between the cast members and neither Cardi nor Davies had been particularly nice to each other. It all started because Davies did not like Cardi but would not give her a specific reason as to why. When at the reunion, Davies kept further avoiding the question, so Cardi B took off her shoe and nailed Davies in the chest with it. A quick brawl broke out between everyone before settling once again. This was a heavy shoe too, and it looked like it really hurt. It ended up that Davies was jealous of her boyfriend hanging out with Cardi, but regardless of what it was about, the rapper displayed some serious rude behavior. Regardless of who was in the right, there was never a need for things to get physical. At number 7, Christina Aguilera. Like a lot of other stars on the list, there have actually been quite a few occasions and even other stars who have had something negative to say about Aguilera. One specific star that exposed her for being rude is none other than the diva herself, Mariah Carey. Aguilera, I guess, did it to herself after stating in 2006 that Carey had slammed her at a party. Aguilera also made it a point to bring up Carey's 2001 breakdown. Aguilera said, one time we were at a party and I think she got really drunk and she just had really derogatory things to say to me. Then she added, but it was at the time that she had that breakdown, so she might have been very medicated. Now, even if Carey did have something mean to say about her, it was not very woman-supporting woman of Aguilera. I'm not saying she has to support all women, but she also doesn't have to talk badly about her on TV either. Of course, Carey did have something to say back, saying, I'd hope that Christina was in a better place now than the last time I saw her, when she showed up uninvited at one of my parties and displayed questionable behavior. Aguilera wasn't done yet though, because in 2015, when asked about not having a Las Vegas residency, the singer responded, I won a Grammy this year. Why would I go to Vegas and join Britney and Mariah in the Oldies Act? At number 6, Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen had a bit of a scandal a few years ago when people started coming out and exposing her for not being as nice as she claims to be on the show. This was an especially damaging claim for DeGeneres because her literal tagline was, be kind to one another. Over the years, thanks to her own show, we can prove that the host has definitely had her fair share of rude moments. One moment that was particularly rude was when she made fun of a fan gift. DeGeneres was doing a segment on her show where she was talking about bad gifts that had been submitted by her viewers. At the end of the segment, she included a bad gift of her own, revealing a gift that she said was from a fan called JB. When she revealed the gift, it was a painting of both her and her wife Portia. The host joked, it's called Ellen and Portia number 10. He took 10 tries, but he finally got it. He got it on number 10. DeGeneres threw a few digs at the painting, also indicating that it looked more like Ryan Seacrest and Kelly Ripa, saying she might have to gift it to them instead. To really drive home on how much she hated the handmade fan gift, she called it scary. And this is hardly the only time that she poked fun at her own viewers either. At number 5, Howard Stern. There have been countless times that Stern has exposed himself for being mean over the years, and I think hosting a live show has had a hand in that. Back in 2001, Stern had Freddie Prinze Jr. on the show, and he told the actor that his engagement and marriage to Sarah Michelle Gellar wouldn't last 10 years. Prinze and Gellar met on the set of famous horror flick I Know What You Did Last Summer and quickly became relationship goals within Hollywood. For some some reason, Stern decided to share his thoughts on their relationship, which ended up being that they would spend a brief period of time sleeping together before going their separate ways. Stern was actually so confident in his own opinion that he put a large sum of money on the line. Stern bet Prince $1 million that the couple wouldn't last long. In the interview, Stern said, "What are you gonna do when it's been 10 years with the same chick? You're gonna cheat." Despite the actor responding, "No, I'm not," to his quite rude assumption, Stern said, "I want to make a written bet with you now. In about 10 years, you're gonna hunt me down and go, 'Howard, I owe you money.'" Well, 10 years later, the couple is still together and they did not forget the bet. In 2022, Geller took to Instagram to remind Stern of his debt, writing, "I think you owe us." At number 4, Mariah Carey. I mentioned the singer when talking about Aguilera being mean to her, but don't be fooled, Carey has had plenty of times where she was being exposed for her not so nice behavior too. One time, Carey was exposed for her rude behavior by her short-lived fellow American Idol judge, Nicki Minaj. The pair started as good friends, collaborating in 2009, with Minaj even praising her for being a sweet, down-to-earth person after expecting a diva. Minaj ended up speaking too soon because she eventually got a taste of that diva behavior. The women did not get along while both being judges on season 12 of American Idol. In 2013, the rapper opened up about her experience working with Carey, and it was totally different from her previous thoughts on Carey. Minaj spoke to Ellen DeGeneres, telling her that initially Minaj had heard that Carey did not want her on the panel, but she didn't believe it. However, when they did begin to work together, Minaj started to feel the shade, and that rumor she heard was sounding less and less like a rumor and more like a fact. Minaj even said that Carey overcompensated by being even crazier. Neither artist ended up returning to the show, and Fox executive Mike Darnell backed up Minaj when he said Minaj was not the problem, blaming Carey for the fighting. At number 3, Wendy Williams. The Wendy Williams show was on the air from 2008 all the way until 2022. That is 14 years of live TV talking with and about celebrities. With Williams, that also means 14 years of messy moments on the air. No one has ever had to come out and expose the host for her rude behavior because she does it all on her own. Williams once referred to actor Terry Crews coming forward and speaking out about his essay as not brave because he was just talking. Williams also once asked 18-year-old Marcus Scriber if he'd ever had sex before live on the show with the actor's father watching just off camera. He was clearly uncomfortable with the question and avoided giving the answer. Basically, Williams spent a decade making fun of the stars because the host also once made fun of Ariana Grande's appearance, claiming that because she's too small, she's not a woman. Williams said, "When you look too young and then you're short, she's only like 4'11", like I don't look at her as like a woman." Clearly, Williams has always truly said whatever comes to her mind, and unfortunately, it's often just mean. These examples don't even begin to scratch the surface either. At number 2, Barbara Walters. There seems to be a theme between celebrity interviews and the host not being nice. One woman known for her persistence for a story, even when inappropriate, is Barbara Walters. She has had many instances of being rude on air, but one particularly mean interview is her infamous one from 2000 with Ricky Martin. At the time, there were rumors going around surrounding Martin's sexuality. While so many people assumed Martin was gay, the singer did not go public about his sexuality until he published his 2011 memoir. During his interview with Walters, she urged Martin to stop these rumors and define his sexuality. Not only is it rude, it's just so unnecessary. I'm sure he had plenty of other things to talk about instead. Walters said, "You could say yes, I am gay, or no I'm not." Martin then replied, "Barbara, for some reason I just don't feel like it." Over 2 decades later, in 2021, Martin said when she dropped the question, "I felt violated because I was just not ready to come out. I was very afraid." The singer also revealed that he suffers from PTSD stemming from the interview with Walters. There are plenty of other instances throughout her long career that Walters was exposed for being mean too. Ricky Martin is unfortunately just one of many. And at number 1, Madonna. Over the years, Cher and Madonna have not gotten along so well, and we know that because Cher has told us so on more than one occasion. When it comes to a few interviews though, I'm not sure which woman is being exposed for being mean. On one hand, Cher is telling us how rude Madonna is, and on the other hand, Cher is sitting on live TV trashing Madonna. Once, when asked about Madonna, Cher said, "There's something about her that I don't like. She's mean. I remember having her over to my house a couple times. She was just so rude to everybody. She acts like a spoiled brat all the time." Then, directed towards Madonna, she said, "You should be a little more magnanimous and a little bit less of a C-word." Of course, Cher used the actual word, and in doing so, shocked the interviewer. I mean, maybe she's totally right and Madonna was really rude to her, but then again, she's saying some pretty mean things to the world. In another interview, Cher said about Madonna, she's unbelievably creative because she's not unbelievably talented. She's not not beautiful, but she's rude.
At number 8 on our list we have Sarah Jessica Parker. Sex and the City star and fashion icon Sarah Jessica Parker is reportedly a little bit quirky. Leaked emails revealed just how quirky. According to former staffer Michelle Collins, she instructs staff to fill a tiny 1.5-ounce container of Vaseline for her kids. The cutlery used to fill the Vaseline has to be hand washed using a paper towel, and then it has to go through the dishwasher. Her son's bottle of face wash and body wash must be always replenished. Staff can't buy multiples of products, they must monitor the products until the product runs out and then replace that product immediately. Also, apparently Jessica practices witchcraft, which is like, kinda no surprise. Hocus pocus, anybody? At number 7 we have Demi Moore. Demi Moore loves some good lighting. Girl, same. But her obsession with good lighting is a bit more severe than most of us. Demi Moore reportedly can't look at herself in the mirror unless the lighting is perfect. An assistant revealed amber bulbs are the order of the day at Demi's house. She believes softer light is more flattering and has cases of bulbs in her home in case the bulbs ever get discontinued. At number 6 on our list we have Frank Sinatra. I love me some Frank Sinatra. Damn. But the legendary jazz singer has some pretty interesting quirks. So you know Sinatra's hat? Yeah, that was apparently there to cover up his bald spot. Talk about hat fishing. Am I right, ladies? If you don't know what hat fishing is, it's this thing where like guys will have a bald spot and they'll wear a hat to cover it up, and then they'll take the hat off and you're like, whoa, I didn't know you were bald. I know it's mean, but it's something that happens. You know, I'd like to know. I'd like to know in advance. In his memoir, Mr. S, My Life with Frank Sinatra, his butler, back then stars had butlers, not personal assistants, George Jacobs, revealed he had to spray cover-up on his boss's bald patch every single day. Spray my hands so they can't see my bald spot. Yes, Sinatra, anything for you, Sinatra. One for my bald spot and one more for the road. George would also have to pay for the nighttime lady visitors who would come by Sinatra's place. You'd think he wouldn't have to pay for that sort of thing. Also, apparently Sinatra wore this specially made underwear designed to hold his impressive package. And this underwear George would have to go pick up and find whenever he was at events. Halfway there at number 5 we have Jessica Simpson. Jessica and her assistant Casey Cobb seem like best friend goals, but before Cobb, Jessica went through a ton of personal assistants. One of them only lasted 2 weeks because, quote, she was too smart to work for Jessica. Many of her assistants hated working for her. One source told the Star that Jessica Simpson would dine and dash, as in she wouldn't pay the bill when she went out to restaurants or bars. The assistant claims that Jessica thought her stardom was payment enough. Jessica also reportedly drops her hair extensions all over the place, to the point where it looks like animals have been shedding all over the house. I'm so enjoying this. Anyone else enjoying these? I'm really having fun. At number 4 we have Mel B. Mel B's former personal assistant and friend came forward with a ton of scary accusations about this Spice Girl. Gary Madatayan filed a lawsuit against Mel after she apparently didn't pay him $200,000 while he worked as her hairstylist and PA. Madatayan was very close with Mel, almost too close. He did everything for her, to the point where he had no personal life. He couldn't see his friends or family because he was always working for Mel. He also described incidents where Mel was drunk and violent with her children. Gary said that at her lowest point, Mel would drink 3 bottles of wine a day and multiple tequila shots, which would make her delusional and paranoid. At number 3 we have Taryn Manning. This Orange is the New Black star has reportedly been violent toward her assistant, which might be why she got the role she got on Orange is the New Black. Her former assistant's name is Hillian Hartman. Manning was ordered to stay away from Hartman after the two had a vicious brawl at the Dream Hotel in New York that left her assistant covered in bruises. According to the lawsuit, she choked and punched her personal assistant and whipped her with a wet towel. She also sprayed Windex in her eyes and mouth. Doesn't taste very good, trust me. Taryn was charged with misdemeanor assault and choking. At number 2 we have Katt Williams. It's too bad Katt Williams is such a, how do I put this nicely, psycho. Aside from being a really funny comedian, he has a long history of domestic abuse, assault, and violence toward dogs. But one former assistant, Angela Triplett Hill, claims Williams beat women in front of her, and he even knocked her unconscious after he hit her in the face. She had stepped away to take a phone call while the two were on set. She said he confronted her outside, lunged toward her, took her phone and threw it. He then insulted her verbally, and when she insulted him back, he struck her multiple times and her head hit the concrete, rendering her unconscious. She sued him for more than $1 million. And he actually failed to show up in court or respond to the allegations. And at number 1 on our list, no surprise here, we have Naomi Campbell. Supermodel Naomi Campbell famously threw a BlackBerry at her PA Amanda Brack. Amanda revealed on the Tyra Banks show that Naomi attacked her no less than 3 times, spat in her face, she cut up her passport and threw it in a swimming pool. And the BlackBerry incident? They were in Mexico when Naomi, quote, cornered her against a wall over problems with flights and luggage. She got very upset and slammed her BlackBerry in the assistant's face. Naomi's hairdresser intervened and saved Amanda. Naomi is apparently very difficult to be around. She also treated another personal assistant in the same manner, Amy Castaldo, who had quit after being subjected to a lot of abuse. Abuse like headbutting, biting, pulling her to the ground by her hair, and calling her a worthless bitch. She also threw a phone at the head of her housekeeper, she caused tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage to a yacht belonging to her former lover, and she had a breakdown outside of one of her ex's flats in London at 3:30 in the morning. Coming into the number 10 spot, we have Sandra Bullock. Other than being one of the most highly paid actresses in Hollywood, Sandra Bullock is a notoriously private person. She's even become more private since she adopted her 2 children, Louie and Layla. Her assistant said that she always has to make sure the curtains in her home are kept closed at all times. She's terrified of the press seeing into her place, and she's paranoid about them taking photos. Which is fair. I just picture Sandra Bullock like peering out of the curtains. Sandra Bullock is also known to have a pretty bad temper, and she takes it out on her assistant. According to a witness, while they were standing in line for a coffee, Sandra Bullock berated her assistant for being 5 minutes late. Now obviously we weren't there, maybe this assistant is late all the time, you know? Don't be late next time, huh? At number 9 we have Christina Aguilera. Former employees have revealed that Christina Aguilera liked to spice things up in the bedroom with role playing. When she and Jordan Bratman were married, she would dress up in costume and walk around the house. Definitely must have been fun for Jordan, not so fun for her assistant, who would have to pick up maids' dresses, nurse uniforms, and other risque clothing off the floor. Like, before or after sex? Was there foreplay? Was she wearing it? That's nasty. That's the kind of shit that you'd probably use tongs to pick up. You know, there's some like tongs. Is this yours? Unfortunately, as you know, the spicing up didn't really work because Christina Aguilera and Jordan Bratman are now divorced. And at number 8 we have Kristen Stewart. There are lots of pictures of Kristen Stewart smoking around the internet. She's almost always pictured with a cigarette in her mouth. Not sure if you guys have ever lived with a smoker before, but it gets real gross real quick. According to her former assistant, Kristen, quote, puffs away like a chimney and leaves cigarette butts everywhere. In the shower, in the potted plants. Oh, not in the plants, man. Why you gotta do that to the plants? And once they found a cigarette butt inside the fridge. I'm not sure why someone would continue smoking in this way, but her addiction has actually cost her work. Rumor has it Chanel cancelled their contract with Kristen Stewart over her unhealthy lifestyle. But like, didn't Coco Chanel smoke like a chimney too? Pretty sure she did. It's not woke anymore. At number 7 we have Khloé Kardashian. Khloé likes to come off like the perfect housewife candidate. She likes to make people think that she can bake. She can't. You know that from watching this channel. She also likes to pretend her house is perfectly clean and organized at all times. But Khloé doesn't actually do any of the cleaning herself. One of her assistants told Radar Online that Khloé doesn't lift a finger. She just barks orders at her assistants and housekeepers to have the cookies and other goodies displayed so that they will look good on camera. This is for the videos on her paid apps. Now granted, if I were rich and famous, I would probably pay someone to clean for me too, like, I don't know, I just don't like doing dishes, you know? But the assistant also claimed that if the food isn't displayed the way she wants, she will dump it upside down and make them do it all over again, which kind of reminds me of like Cinderella's evil stepsisters. Not gonna lie. I didn't call her ugly stepsister, I said evil. At number 6 we got Ryan Gosling. Okay, so there's few women on earth who aren't in love with Ryan Gosling. My mom thinks he's ugly, but I think he's dashing. Sorry, I just had a daydream about Ryan Gosling. But just because he's a mega babe on the screen, that doesn't mean he's not a total weirdo when he's in private. First of all, he enjoys getting waxed, which is like, who in their right mind enjoys getting waxed? He waxes both his chest and his back a couple times a month. He hates having hair. No hair allowed. Hopefully the assistant doesn't do the waxing themselves. And one of Ryan Gosling's housekeepers famously claimed that he walks up the stairs on all fours, he sleeps with his head at the foot of the bed, and he pees sitting down. So wait, does that mean Eva Mendes sleeps next to Ryan's feet? Like, I'll take it, I'll do that. I don't mind. At number 5 we have Selena Gomez. Selena is a slob, and not just in a leaves her dishes lying around the house kind of way. Selena is known to have a quote lack of respect for other places and can completely trash a hotel room in less than 24 hours. She'll leave makeup stains all over the bed, likely because she doesn't take off her makeup before she goes to sleep. How do you not get like pimples? She'll leave food wrappers all over the place, she doesn't clean up drink spills, and she also leaves her undies lying around for her assistant to pick up. That's nice. Tongs again. Is this yours? At number 4 we have Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart admitted herself in a blog post that she keeps her assistant Shikipe Barisha very busy. Busy with organizing. Barisha was tasked with organizing all of Martha's cosmetics into labeled clear plastic tubs in the basement dressing rooms of her winter house. Martha has a winter house. Of course she does. Martha said in a blog post, one by one she removes items from the bins and recategorizes every item, reevaluating what is still usable and discarding items that are too old or expired. This process is tedious, but it's always good to clean out makeup and other beauty care supplies every few months. Now listen, I'm a Virgo, so I actually love organizing, and I didn't think this was so bad when I read it. But then I saw how many cosmetics Martha Stewart has. It's a lot. That's a lot. At number 3 we have David Beckham. In 2004, David Beckham's personal assistant, Rebecca Luz, said in an interview that she had an affair with David Beckham. Rebecca is a Dutch glamour model and former TV star who actually gained fame after she came forward with these allegations, so maybe it was all to like get some press time, who knows. She says the affair began with flirting and texting and gradually developed into a bond. But after a while the relationship was purely physical, which made her feel quote, dirty and cheap. So sleeping with a married man didn't make you feel dirty and cheap? Cool. Beckham always denied her claims, and while he and Victoria Beckham are still married. Rebecca now lives a very private life as a yoga teacher in the Dutch mountains. At number 2 we have Garth Brooks. I haven't heard that name in a while. Garth Brooks' former assistant Lisa Sanderson, who worked for him for 20 years, sued the country superstar for $425,000. She said he was quote paranoid, angry, deceitful, and a vindictive man who would turn against those closest to him on a dime. She tried to get him a career in television and movies, but he was his own worst enemy. He would refuse to work with anyone because he didn't want to share the limelight. He supposedly turned down a role in Twister because he felt the part would be outshined by the tornado in the film. You can't make this shit up, guys. A tornado! Brooks' lawyers denied the claims. And at number 1 on our list we have Robert De Niro. I am really sad that he ended up on this list because dude, I love me some De Niro, but he's actually one of the worst cases I've come across. Like this is some Weinstein if it's true. De Niro was sued for $12 million for gender discrimination by his former assistant Graham Chase Robinson. She claims that he would make abusive and sexist comments toward her. He also engaged in inappropriate conduct and quote gratuitous unwanted physical contact. This treatment was proven in a recorded phone call where De Niro berated Miss Robinson repeatedly for not answering his calls. The lawsuit also states that she was underpaid because she was a woman. She was called quote a brat, and she could get pregnant using sperm from a married male co-worker. Last allegation, De Niro supposedly urinated during phone calls with her, met her wearing only a bathrobe. Why is it always a bathrobe, man? He would ask her to scratch his back and allowed his friend to slap her on the butt and didn't do anything about it. Starting off our list at number 10 we have Christian Bale. Christian Bale is supposed to be one of the most volatile and difficult people to work with in Hollywood. Bale's former assistant Harrison Chung also wrote a book about his experience working for him, saying that he needed 5 years of therapy to get past his Bale years. Chung says that he witnessed Bale lecturing fangirls about bothering him to the point where these fangirls started crying. When Bale received a fan letter, he told Chung the fan should be eliminated with a quote screwdriver thrust through the eyeball into the brain which prevents any screaming. I guess there's definitely a reason why he got the role of American Psycho. Yes, because he's a psycho, get it? And at number 9 we have Lance Armstrong. Right around the time Lance Armstrong was stripped of 7 Tour de France titles by the US anti-doping agency, his former assistant came forward to expose him in a pretty terrible expose for Outside magazine. Mike Anderson was Lance Armstrong's assistant starting in 2012. He claims that Armstrong returned from Europe with cash stuffed into his pants from races he did under the table. He would avoid World Anti-Doping Agency tests, and while he was at Livestrong events, he would mutter things like, "I hate these effing things." He also left his wife in a very quote cruel and abrupt fashion. And at number 8 we have Anna Wintour. I could not do this list without talking about the most famous example, Anna Wintour, who was exposed by her former assistant Lauren Weisberger. After she graduated from college, Lauren got a job at Vogue magazine as an assistant to the editor-in-chief Anna Wintour. Lauren went on to write a book that resembled her experience working at Vogue and Anna Wintour herself very closely. It was called The Devil Wears Prada, and it was a novel about a girl who got an assistant's job at a fashion magazine where she worked for a mean dragon lady editor-in-chief called Miranda Priestley, later played by Meryl Streep. The book and the movie portrayed the editor-in-chief as pretty much the worst kind of boss, emotionally abusive, judgmental, and demanding. Anne wasn't actually too upset about the book or the movie. She did redecorate her office after the movie came out, which was eerily similar to Miranda Priestley's, but at the time she said, I quote, "Anything that makes fashion entertaining and glamorous and interesting is wonderful for our industry." So I was 100% behind it. And I mean, she was played by Meryl Streep, which is pretty much like goals. In at number 7 we have Courtney Love. Courtney is one of Hollywood's strangest characters. We know this from her bizarre relationship with deceased Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain, but her former assistant actually sued her in 2012 when she didn't receive payment for the job she'd done. Jessica Labrie had a list of strange job criteria as her personal assistant. She worked for $30 an hour, she was going to receive a full ride scholarship to Yale, her job title was assistant and quote, forensic research aide, and she was supposed to get the opportunity to work on a Nirvana biopic. But Jessica claims Courtney Love didn't pay her basic wages. She made her work overtime, didn't pay for the Yale scholarship, and even asked her to do illegal tasks like hiring a computer hacker, and she wanted her to pose as a lawyer. Jessica also told the press that while she worked for her, Courtney Love acted with a quote, improper and evil motive amounting to malice or despicable conduct. At number 6 we got Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's former assistant Jennifer O'Neill claims Lady Gaga was nothing short of a monster. A monster who owed her almost $400,000 in unpaid overtime during her 13 months working for her. Jennifer would do everything for Lady Gaga, and she was on duty 24 hours a day. She often wasn't given time off for breaks, meals, or even sleep. The lawsuit states that her duties included ordering Gaga's meals, making sure her outfits were on hand, the quote promptness of a towel following a shower, and serving as a personal alarm clock. For all of this, Jennifer was paid $75,000 a year, which is like, that's not enough. Gaga's assistant before O'Neill, Angela Siemny, also claimed that she would sleep and take showers with Lady Gaga because she didn't like being alone. Halfway there now at number 5 we got Tony Robbins. 9 former staffers and followers of Tony Robbins came forward with many accusations of sexual misconduct this past year. Kimberly Stokes, who worked as Tony Robbins' live-in personal assistant, had a lot of things to say about Robbins as part of a BuzzFeed expose. She recalls one time where Robbins walked into her bathroom while she was showering and dropped his towel, exposing himself. This wasn't the only time Robbins made a pass at her in this way either. To make matters worse, Stokes was a survivor of abuse as a child, and Robbins knew that. Another former assistant, Kate Ratas, said that she considered seeing Robbins naked as quote part of her job, but also saw his teachings as life transforming. In at 4 we got Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy was called out by his former assistant Starway for owing him $30,000. Starway said that he worked for Soulja Boy for a total of 5 weeks, and during that time period he did everything for him. He lived with him in his house the entire time and took care of his day-to-day. He also says he shot around 15 music videos for him, which he was never paid for. It seems like Soulja took this guy for a bit of a ride. He does have the reputation of being like, I don't know, just like not having any money. He's uploaded photos of fake stacks of money to Instagram for years, and according to his financial advisor, who was also owed money at the time, Soulja hadn't paid him because he only had $1,000 in his bank account. Damn, or should I say, ooh, Soulja Boy up in it, ooh. Guess he's still not making money off of royalties, because nobody likes that song anymore. In at 3 we have Whitney Houston. Whitney's former personal assistant Robin Crawford finally addressed rumors that she and Whitney were in a romantic relationship in a tell-all book, A Song for You, My Life with Whitney Houston. Crawford was one of the first people to tell Houston's mother, Sissy, about her drug habit. And in terms of their romantic relationship, according to Robin, they were lovers and Whitney was a lesbian. Everyone close to them knew that there was something going on. Whitney's mother, Sissy Houston, was against their relationship, saying it was unnatural for two women to be that close. Even Whitney's husband at the time, Bobby Brown, did not like Robin Robin Crawford. While on tour in 1991, Robin and Whitney would share a hotel room, yet Whitney tragically lost her life in a hotel room with cocaine in her system. She drowned in a bathtub. In at 2, we got J-Lo. If you work for Jennifer Lopez, she doesn't let you talk or make eye contact with her. Her new assistant job description is as follows. Must have thick skin, be graceful under pressure, resourceful in foreign countries. They must be on call 24/7, be able to change diapers, work on little sleep, and cook if the butler's away. Oh, and this next bit is the icing on the very, very saucy cake. If you're J-Lo's personal assistant, you have to know when it's J-Lo's snack time, even though she won't say when she's hungry. You're expected to have food waiting for her. Okay? Also, according to J-Lo's several former assistants, they weren't allowed significant others or vacations.
Coming at number 10, Kourtney Kardashian. Now, although Kourtney may seem like one of the more rational Kardashians, this story from her former nanny is a bit nuts. A nanny who had previously worked for the reality show star exposed Kourtney and her ridiculous requests. While speaking with Star magazine, the ex-nanny revealed that Kourtney demanded to never be called by her first name. Instead, she preferred to be called Madam, not Ma'am, but Madam. In the interview, she says, "She asked me to call her Madam at all times. I once slipped up and called her Kourtney and she threw a hissy fit. I never made that mistake again." Eesh. Coming at number 9, Lady Gaga. Back in 2013, Lady Gaga's former assistant Jennifer O'Neill went after the singer, claiming that she was taking her to court for unpaid overtime wages. Within the court documents, Jennifer said that she had to be on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, adding that she even had to frequently sleep in the same bed as Gaga because she never had her own hotel room while they were on tour together. Plus, it was faster if Lady Gaga needed anything in the night. According to Gaga, though, she claimed that Jennifer was suing her for money that she didn't earn. Jennifer was asking for nearly $400,000 in overtime pay and further damages after having to be at the singer's beck and call from 2009 to 2011. Her annual salary for this job was $75K, and in the deposition, Lady Gaga said that she didn't deserve a penny more. Although something must have happened because later court filings say that they had come to a settlement outside of court. In a break, Christian Bale. Harrison Chung worked as Christian Bale's personal assistant for over a decade and even wrote a book called Christian Bale: The Inside Story of the Darkest Batman. And the stories he tells about the star in this book are absolutely insane. In one portion exposing Bale, he says, "If Christian was away filming on location, I would take care of his 5 pets, along with stray possums in the backyard as a special request. I would do anything from sniffing Christian's armpits for BO right before he hit the red carpet to making emergency sock runs if Christian was all out of clean ones. Sometimes duties were as exciting as traveling to film festivals and as dull as watching Christian surf in case something needed to be done on shore. I just can't get over the fact that he actually hired someone to sniff his armpits." Harrison would later tell the Daily Mail that it took 5 years of therapy to get past the post-traumatic stress he had from working with Bale. In at number 7, Scott Rudin. You may have never even heard of Scott Rudin before, but he actually holds the unofficial crown of being Hollywood's most feared boss. Forever, he was upheld as being this legendary producer of The Truman Show and many other big films, although his revolving door of former assistants revealed some pretty wild stories about him. Apparently, he had as many as 250 assistants from the year 2000 to 2005, one of which was fired for bringing him a bad breakfast muffin. What's crazy here, though, is that even as his ex-assistants blasted him in the press for how terrible he was, he just embraced it and claimed to have an unforgiving management style. Although that certainly does not excuse the accounts I read about assistants being overworked, dealing with his random fits of rage, and having the occasional object tossed at them. Coming at number 6, Ben Stiller. Usually when we see Ben Stiller on screen, he's playing this nice guy, but as we all know, celebrities are usually quite different in person. And according to a former assistant that worked with Ben during his time on the set of Zoolander, Ben can be quite bizarre. On his first day of working, this assistant was told all of the do's and don'ts of handling Ben Stiller's every need. In fact, there were even specific instructions about how he liked his iced tea. According to them, it had to be unsweetened, and then it had to be sweetened with 1.5 packs of Splenda inside and 16 ounces of unsweetened iced tea on top of that. The assistant recounted one time that they brought Stiller his iced tea in a paper cup, and then he was told to get a glass, put more ice in the glass, then pour the iced tea from the paper cup into the glass. Then upon obliging to this request, Ben took one sip and said, "What the hell is this?" And he was referring to the condensation that had formed on the glass, which would have been avoided had he just drank out of the paper cup. But regardless, he asked his assistant to continually wipe off the condensation for him. Apparently, Ben doesn't like it when his hands get wet, because if he has to shake someone else's hands, then they might think that he has sweaty palms, and that's a no-go, apparently. And at number 5, Charlize Theron. According to an interview Charlize Theron's former assistant did with Star Magazine, the assistant was not allowed to speak or even look at her. Then one of her former nannies also revealed that if she had anything to communicate with her boss about the kids, she actually had to just write it down in a diary. Not exactly the best way to inform a parent about what's been going on with their own kids. Hopefully she put in some exception in case of emergencies, because I could see a number of ways that this terrible rule could go wrong. She can't even say that she just doesn't have time to talk to them, because if this diary thing is true, then she has to find some time to sit down and read the odd journal entries from her staff. Like, I just picture Charlize Theron sitting there and just, "Dear diary, I hate my boss." I wonder if anyone's actually wrote that. They should. Maybe on your last day. I guess that would be your last day if you wrote that in there. Either way, let's move on to the next one. In at number 4, Jennifer Lopez. Believe it or not, but Jenny from the block has had an awful history of treating employees of hers poorly, from chauffeurs getting tired of driving her around without proper meal breaks, to people like her makeup artist being shunned after accidentally leaking details about her marriage to Mark Anthony. Although nothing compares to what her former assistant told Gawker about. According to the assistant, this is what J-Lo said she required from them. The person has to be graceful under pressure, have thick skin, and be resourceful in foreign countries. You'll be on call 24/7, you have to change diapers, work on little sleep, and cook if the butler is away. You have to know when J-Lo has her snack time, she won't say she's hungry, and you're expected to have food waiting. Wasn't that nice? In number 3, Naomi Campbell. This was one of those more infamous cases of a celebrity being exposed by their former assistant, and it still is actually a reputation that Naomi lives with today. In 2007, Campbell pleaded guilty to attacking her maid by hitting her in the head with a cell phone. As a result, she had to take anger management classes and serve a 5-day sentence of community service, plus cover her maid's hospital bills. The assistant also claimed that she grabbed her by the arms and threw her down on a couch. And during an interview with Elle magazine in 2013, she discussed this and said that she regretted losing her temper. Naomi says, and I quote, "I'm never going to get away from it. It's part of my history. I was remorseful and regretful. I've served, I did that time, and I never want to be in that position again." Coming number 2, Soulja Boy. A report came out from The Guardian that said Soulja Boy, the rapper, was being sued by his former personal assistant. In the lawsuit, she accused him of doing a number of heinous things, from locking her in a room to subjecting her to all kinds of different abuse. The 30-year-old musician is alleged to have locked the unnamed female assistant in a room for 3 days and assaulted her repeatedly during that time. Along with that, the claimant is also alleging that he abused her physically, verbally, and even would withhold her paychecks. The woman began working for Soulja Boy in December of 2018, and according to her, she was expected to not only be available at all times, but also to cook, clean, chauffeur, style his hair, and perform personal assistant tasks for him as well. In return for her working 20 hours a day and 7 days a week, he had promised her a payment of $500 per week. The lawsuit also states that after a month of working for him, he began sending unsolicited and inappropriate photos to her. Not exactly the best kind of boss, but our number 1 spot isn't either.
Let's start things off at number 10, she parties a lot. We all know that Kim used to be a party girl. I mean, she and Paris Hilton like hung out all the time and they were like best friends. Since she settled down and gotten married and had kids, Kim likes to sculpt a very specific version of herself for the media. A version where she seems like a good girl and the perfect mom. But make no mistake, Kim is a party girl and she goes on benders, often with her sister Kendall. Ugh, Kendall. Of course, most of her partying is done in secret, but her assistants and staff know about it because she comes home drunk as and throws up everywhere. I actually don't know that for sure, but I'm assuming. At number 9 on our list, the crying is fake. There are so many pictures of Kim Kardashian crying on her reality show, her crying face has become a meme. You can literally buy clothing with Kim's crying face all over it. I kinda want it. But all this emotion seems to be is just an act to boost ratings on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Almost every episode, Kim cries over like really dumb jewelry going missing, or maybe she'll cry about like scandalous photos being released of her in the press when she posts scandalous photos of herself on her own Instagram. But when she's at home and not on camera, she hardly ever cries and has quite thick skin, according to her assistant. And at number 8, she acts like a tyrant. Okay, there's a difference between thinking you like a queen boo and like having self-worth and acting like a tyrant, especially when it comes to how you treat your staff. Kim ordered Stephanie around day and night, and working for her wasn't glamorous. Stephanie never had a break, and she would be the one blamed if anything bad happened, like a flight got delayed. She said, with all that glamour comes schlepping the bags and suitcases and taking the fall when the car doesn't show up or the flight is delayed or something goes wrong. I fail to see how it's your assistant's fault if the flight's delayed. Are you f***ing kidding me? The flight's delayed? This is outrageous. How could you let this happen? Like, what is she supposed to do about it?
I'm sorry, Kim. Don't hurt me. Don't sit on
In at number 7, she's mean. Okay, listen, I think all of us can be mean once in a while. Maybe we've got mean thoughts about people, or we say things that we don't mean things that we don't mean. On Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kim comes off as this really sweet person. But when the cameras aren't rolling, a different Kim comes out. She's reportedly rude to staff who have a hard time being around her, especially when she's in a mood. And apparently she's also quite rude to her mom. This was a quote that Kris Jenner posted on her Instagram. Apparently this is something that Kim said to her. "No more Pilgrim Addams family outfits. You have exhausted this look. Move on. We need chic, tight dresses, not this Amish stuff anymore." I don't know about you guys, but I would never say something like this to my mom, even if I didn't like her outfit, which is like some of the time. But if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. In at number 6, she doesn't have friends. They say that as you get more and more famous, you get more and more lonely and isolated. Kim used to have high-profile celebs on her list of friends like Beyonce. Stephanie revealed that Beyonce and Kim are feuding and often badmouth each other, which hasn't become known because it's done privately in their homes. Stephanie also said that Kim has a hard time keeping friends because she thinks she's quote better than everyone else, and she tries to be better than everyone else too. Some other celebrities that Kim has cut off include Jordan Woods, Blac Chyna, Taylor Swift, and Drake. It's easy to judge someone who's got a big ego, but would any of us act differently in Kim's situation? I guess most of us will never know. I mean, I would like to think that someday I'm gonna have 100 million Instagram followers, but like who knows if that'll happen. Maybe that'll get to my head. Probably would get to most of us, wouldn't it? Excuse me, do you know who I am? I have 100 million followers. Let me in! In at number 5, she's a slob. Kim's former staffer said there would be old food in the refrigerator. The trash would be overflowing in the kitchen and the bathrooms. No one would go in there. Kim's bedroom and bathroom are beyond filthy at all times, no matter how often they're cleaned by her many maids. So Kim's got a massive closet. I think most of us can assume that by now. That goes without saying. But when she's getting ready to go out, rather than put her clothes back, she just chucks them all over the place and expects people to clean up after her, apparently. Here's a photo that essentially proves that. Her messy house is also seen when she goes on Snapchat or Instagram stories. "Hey guys, it's Kim. Hey guys." In at number 4, she's vain. No surprise here. I think a lot of us can be vain from time to time. I mean, when you look like this. But Kim's vanity is on another level. She's obsessed with what she looks like. According to Stephanie, she is so vain that she has staff remove plants or objects if they're in the way of a mirror. And while on holiday at Punta Mita in Mexico, Kim took 6,000 selfies on a 4-day trip. Is that weird? Is that like a lot? Stephanie's also seen in some of these selfies. Granted, I kind of get it. Kim's an influencer and all influencers have to do for their job is take photos of themselves, but I feel like 6,000 selfies might be a little much. Just a little bit. And number 3, she's jealous of Kylie. Now this one pretty much goes without saying, but there's always been rivalry between siblings. Always. Unnamed staff sources say that when Kylie Jenner was named the youngest self-made billionaire by Forbes, there were rumors floating around that Kim was distancing herself from Kylie and trying to convince her sisters to do the same. After all, if it weren't for Kim, Kylie wouldn't be famous at all and wouldn't have had the platform that she successfully used to launch her billion-dollar makeup brand, Kylie Cosmetics. Kim saw how successful Kylie's brand was, and then she tried to start her own cosmetics company, KKW Beauty, and it's nowhere near as successful as Kylie Cosmetics. And at number 2, she's got low self-esteem. Remember those photos from that vacation? The cellulite photos? Yeah, those absolutely destroyed Kim. And I think if our squishy bits were plastered all over every tabloid in America, we would feel pretty terrible about ourselves too. I do have to commend Kim though. Instead of feeling sorry for herself, she started a strict diet and workout regimen. She now works with a personal trainer 6 days a week. She doesn't eat processed food. She doesn't even eat bread or salad dressing. The only thing that she allows herself to eat on a snack day is like banana bread. And she looking good. And at number 1, she's not the mother she appears to be. The picture social media paints of Kim is that she's this amazing mother to her children, but as soon as the cameras are not rolling, Kim has 3 nannies that are always looking after them. She fits visits into her schedule with her children, but they are very short visits. This is what a source said, and that source also told The Mirror it's a well-oiled machine with 3 nannies moving around the house, bringing the kids in for a quick Snapchat with mom, then whipping them away again if they start to cry and make a fuss. There's actually photo and video evidence of Kim being like not the best mom. There was that time that North fell down and Kim didn't help her up. She just like looked at her phone. And then there was also that time that she forgot North in the car. And there was also that time where she forgot North in the hotel and like went out to the car and then went back and got her. I actually think she debunked that claim, but you get my point.